Hi all. In this video, we're going to be looking at Topic 12, Lesson 4, Area of Special Quadrilaterals. As a reminder, a quadrilateral is a four-sided shape, so we're dealing with four-sided shapes today. In order to solve a four-sided shape that is not a rectangle or a square, we're going to need to have some other methods to do. Let's look at a couple. Let's say we had a trapezoid. You can see that is made up of a rectangle and two smaller triangles. Let's look at the measurements that I have. For this across the top, we have 10 yards. We have, again, 10 yards here. Our base of this triangle is 4 yards, and the base of this triangle is also 4 yards. Oops. The total base is 18 yards. Now that's a lot of information for one problem. Oh, one more is 12 yards for my height. That's a lot of information, and it can look confusing. So let's break it apart with color. Rather than focusing on everything, let's just focus on this triangle right here. And what do I know about this triangle? I know it has a base of 4 yards and a height of 12 yards. So, for my area of a triangle, remember, is 1/2 base times height. So I can do the math. Area equals 1/2 of 4 times my height of 12. Area, 1/2 of 4 is 2 times 12. So my area equals 24 yards squared. And I like to put it in here just so I remember and circle it. Oops, that should be 24. It happens. Now let's look at a rectangle. A rectangle is a pretty familiar shape that we have. I'm going to color it in pink just so we can really see what we're talking about. And remember, area of a rectangle is base, we can call it, times height, or length times width. So for my rectangle, I have area equals length times width. I can see I have a length of 10 and I'm multiplying it by 12. Area equals 10 times 12. My area equals 120 square yards, or we can write yards squared. Now to find the area of the whole shape, we have one more triangle, but if you notice, this triangle also has a base of 4, like this one, and a height of 12, which tells me automatically it's going to be 24 square yards. With all that information, our next step is to add up the areas of the three shapes. So I'm going to have 24 plus 120. And again, sometimes it's easy to put it in there so we know what we're looking at, plus another 24. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. And 1 plus nothing is 1. So we have a total area for this shape is 168 yards squared. I'm going to circle that so you can see it. Let's look at another quadrilateral. This one is fun because we typically refer to it as a kite. Here we have our kite. Let's put some measurements in there. Let's say this is a height of 5 centimeters. You can tell that this is a square triangle. This could be 10 centimeters, 10 centimeters, and height here of 25 centimeters. Again, you can see that they're right triangles. So when we look at this, it may seem a little confusing, but let's take it one shape at a time. Let's focus our attention to this top triangle right here. Now on this top triangle, again a triangle, I'll use my area of a triangular formula of area equals 1/2 base times height. Let's plug the information in. So I have 10 centimeters, so area equals 1/2 of 10, since that's my base, times a height of 5. Area equals half, that should say 5. Area, half of 10 is 5, is going to equal 5 times 5. Area for this first triangle is 25 square centimeters. Maybe I want to put here 25 and circle the number. Again, I circle it so I don't get it confused with the information, but also so I know what this problem goes to. Now, if I look at this triangle right next to it, I notice that it is also has a base of 10 centimeters and a height of 5 centimeters, which means it's going to be the exact same area of 25. I don't even have to do the math a second time. Let's look at one last triangle on here. On this triangle, my base that I'm given is 10 centimeters. So again, I'm going to have area equals 1/2 base times height. My area is 1/2 times 10 times the height of 25. So my area is going to equal 5 times 25. And my area for one of these triangles is going to be 125 centimeters squared. So this triangle is 125 centimeters squared. If I look at the triangle next to it, I can see, wait a second, the measurements are exactly the same, which means that that triangle must also have an area of 125. Next, I take all of my areas that I have and add them together. So I have 25 plus 25 plus 125 plus 125. And that's going to equal my final area. Well, one thing I know, if I look at 25s, I think of quarters, and I can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 25s total, which gives me 100, plus my 200 right there. So a final area of 300. My final area for this problem is 300 centimeters squared. So the big takeaway from this lesson is whatever shape you have, whether it be, as long as it's four-sided, to divide it into other shapes, solve using either the area of a rectangle, if it's possible, or the area of a triangle. Another example of a shape that you might come across could look like this. In this case, I would draw a dotted line across here, and I would see that I have a triangle and I have a rectangle. I find the area of my triangle and I add it to the area of the rectangle. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Thank you and have a great day.